Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking on a story that has really echoed through centuries. It's a classic from the Sasanian Empire, the epic of Khosrow and Shirin.
It really is. And this is a narrative that's just so rich with, well, enduring human experiences. We're going to explore the complexities of love, not just romantic love, but also things like devotion, maybe even obsession.
Yeah, and rivalry too.
Exactly. Rivalry, the strength of loyalty, sacrifice, all set against, seemingly impossible odds.
Right, and at the heart of it all, we have these three really compelling figures. First, there's Khosrow Parviz. He's the Sasanian king, known for being charismatic, but also, as we'll find out, maybe a bit impulsive.
Definitely capable of grand gestures, both good and bad. Then there's Shirin, the Armenian princess, celebrated for her beauty, sure, but also for her sharp mind, her wisdom.
And the third key figure, Farhad, the devoted stonecutter. His story brings in this really powerful, almost pure form of love, which ends up being, well, quite tragic.
A very powerful counterpoint. So our mission today is to really unpack the key events and try to understand what makes this tale so timeless.
Okay, let's dive in. Where does it begin?
We start in the Sasanian Empire, ancient Persia, a major power, rich culture, complex politics, all that. And we first meet Khosrow Parviz when he's still a young prince. His father, Hormuz, is on the throne.
And the story kicks off with a dream, right?
Yes, a really significant dream. Khosrow dreams of his grandfather, the famous Anushirvan.
Okay. And what's the dream about?
Well, it foretells his future union with a woman named Shirin and also mentions a remarkable horse, Shabdiz. In stories from this time, these kinds of prophetic dreams, they often act as like a sign of destiny.
Sets the wheels in motion.
Exactly. It puts the protagonist on this path even if they don't fully grasp it yet. Gives the whole story a sense of grand design right from the start.
Got it. So the dream plants the seed. Now, how does this connect to the real Shirin? That involves Khosrow's friend, Shapur.
That's right. Shapur is key here. He's portrayed as Khosrow's loyal friend, but also a very talented painter.
Okay.
And his travels take him to Armenia, which is a neighboring kingdom. And there, he hears about Shirin. She's the niece of the Armenian queen and already has this reputation, for beauty, but also for wisdom and character.
And Shapur puts two and two together.
Yeah.
He hears the name Shirin and remembers Khosrow's dream.
Precisely. He realizes, wait, this must be the woman from the prophecy. So he kind of takes on the role of matchmaker, you could say.
So Khosrow hears about her from Shapur, gets completely captivated, I assume.
Totally. Shapur's descriptions are apparently quite vivid. Khosrow is immediately interested and sends Shapur back to Armenia with the mission, bring Shirin to Persia.
And how does Shapur approach this? He doesn't just show up at the palace door, does he?
No, he's clever about it. He orchestrates a meeting kind of indirectly near a spring, a very picturesque setting.
Right. The story goes he hangs paintings of Khosrow nearby while she's there. Or describes him.
He paints a very appealing picture. Yes, maybe literally, maybe figuratively. He emphasizes Khosrow's noble qualities, his capacity for love. It's not just about royal status.
And this appeals to Shirin.
It seems so. She's often described as having a romantic streak, but also being quite independent. Shapur's description intrigues her enough that she decides, okay, I'll make this journey to Persia. She's quite bold, really.
And then, before they can properly meet through Shapur, fate intervenes. That famous scene in the meadow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Almost like something out of a movie. Khosrow is returning from a hunt, Shirin is traveling towards Persia, and they just happen across paths in this beautiful, lush meadow. They don't know who the other is initially.
But there's an instant connection. Love at first sight.
That's certainly how the sources portray it. A powerful mutual recognition, like destiny clicking into place,
But it's brief.
Very brief. Just a glance, a strong impression made, and then they continue on their separate ways. A tantalizing start.
But things don't stay simple for long. Politics gets in the way.
Right. Almost immediately, Khosrow runs into serious conflict with his father, Hormuz. It gets so bad that Khosrow actually has to flee Persia.
And where does he go?
Ironically, he seeks refuge in Armenia, the very place Shirin just left to find him. Talk about bad timing.
Wow. So they meet again, but the circumstances are totally reversed. He's now a fugitive seeking help. How does Shirin react?
This is where her strength really shows. She doesn't just rush to him. She keeps a certain dignified distance. She basically tells him he needs to prove himself, prove his worth beyond just being a prince.
So she challenges him, sets a standard.
Exactly. It shows her agency. She's not just swept away.
And the political situation keeps getting worse for Khosrow, doesn't it? There's a rebellion.
Yes, a major one. Bahram Chobin rises up and actually manages to seize the Sasanian throne. Khosrow is forced to flee again.
Where this time?
He escapes to the Byzantine Empire, seeking military aid to win back his kingdom.
And this leads to a pretty significant complication for his relationship with Shirin.
A huge one. To get the Byzantine emperor's support, Khosrow agrees to a political marriage. He marries the emperor's daughter, Mariam.
Ouch. That must have been devastating news for Shirin.
You have to imagine it felt like a betrayal. After that initial connection, after her journey, after challenging him, it's a serious blow.
So what does she do?
Well, hearing about the marriage, she decides to return to Persia on her own terms. She settles in a palace near the capital, Ctesiphon, a major city back then. She maintains her independence, watching things unfold.
Waiting to see what happens. And eventually Khosrow does win back his throne with Byzantine help.
He does, and naturally one of the first things he wants to do is reconnect with Shirin.
But she's not having it. Not immediately.
Not at all. She rejects his advances.
Yeah.
Understandably right. He's married to Mariam. Shirin demands real proof of his loyalty, proof that his feelings are genuine despite the political marriage. Trust has been broken.
It really highlights the obstacles they faced. It wasn't just distance or politics, but his own actions.
Precisely. And just as their relationship seems stuck, this is when Farhad enters the picture.
The stonecutter. This adds a whole new layer, a different kind of love.
Absolutely. Farhad is presented as this incredibly skilled artist, a master stonecutter, and the moment he sees Shirin, he falls deeply, intensely in love.
Is his love different from Khosrow's?
The story often contrasts them. Farhad's love is depicted as pure, more selfless, almost spiritual in its devotion. It's not really tied up in power or possession in the same way Khosrow's might seem.
And he expresses this through his art and poetry.
Yes, through heartfelt poetry and presumably through the sheer passion in his craft. And this genuinely touches Shirin. It speaks to her heart in a way Khosrow's attempts maybe couldn't at that point.
Which, of course, makes Khosrow jealous.
Intensely jealous, and maybe insecure, too. He sees Farhad as a serious rival, someone winning Shirin's admiration, and he wants him gone.
So he gives him that impossible task, carve a path through Mount Bisotin.
Yes, the legendary Mount Bisotin. The task is to carve a channel or path through solid rock, supposedly to bring milk from shepherds down to Shirin's palace, or just to bridge the distance. It's meant to be impossible, maybe fatal.
But Farhad actually takes it on.
He does. Fueled entirely by his love for Shirin, he throws himself into the work with unbelievable energy. The story emphasizes his tireless labor, the almost superhuman progress he makes. It's a testament to his devotion.
This must have driven Khosrow crazy, seeing Farhad actually succeeding.
Exactly. It seems to make Khosrow even more desperate, and this leads him to do something truly cruel.
The deception.
Yes. Khosrow arranges for false news to reach Farhad while he's working on the mountain. An old woman is sent to tell him that Shirin has died.
Well, that's terrible, and Farhad believes it.
He does, and the impact is immediate and devastating. Believing Shirin is gone, his reason for living, his inspiration for this immense task vanishes.
And he takes his own life.
In his despair, yes. The legend says he throws himself from the mountain peak with his axe, a truly tragic end for such a devoted figure.
And Shirin. How does she react when she finds out what Khosrow did?
She's overcome with grief for Farhad, naturally. And she blames Khosrow directly. His jealousy, his ruthlessness led to this tragedy. It creates another major rift between them.
It really shows the destructive side of possessive love, doesn't it?
Absolutely. A stark contrast. Farhad's love led to incredible creation and ultimately self-sacrifice, while Khosrow's jealousy led to deceit and death.
So things seem pretty bleak. But eventually the obstacle of Khosrow's marriage is removed.
Yes. After some time, Mariam dies. The accounts vary on how, but the result is that Khosrow is now technically free to marry Shirin.
And does Shirin finally agree? After everything.
After all the trials, the heartbreak, the waiting.
Yeah.
Shirin finally consents to marry Khosrow.
So they finally achieve their union. Is it happily ever after?
Unfortunately, no. Their time together, their happiness is depicted as being tragically short-lived. The shadows of the past, perhaps, or just fate intervene again.
What happens?
Trouble comes from within Khosrow's own family. His son, Shiroya, his son, by Mariam, remember?
Ah, right. What about him?
Shiroya is ambitious, resentful. Maybe he feels overlooked. Maybe he just craves power. He launches a rebellion against his own father, Khosrow.
Another betrayal. It seems Khosrow's life is full of them.
It really is. And this one is brutal. Shiroya succeeds in overthrowing Khosrow.
And what does he do with his father?
He has Khosrow imprisoned and then ultimately murdered, patricide. It's a dark turn.
So Khosrow meets a violent end, and Shirin.
Mm.
How does she cope with this final loss?
For Shirin, this is the final straw. Losing Khosrow, especially after finally being united with him after such a long and difficult path, it's more than she can bear.
Does she?
Yes. In a final act of love and devotion, unwilling to live without him, she takes her own life, often depicted as happening right beside Khosrow's body.
So their earthly story ends together, but in tragedy.
Profound tragedy, but the narrative often emphasizes that while their physical lives end there, their love story achieves a kind of immortality, enduring in legend and poetry.
Okay, so let's just recap this incredible deep dive. We followed the twists and turns of this passionate, often difficult love between Khosrow and Shirin.
We saw the political turmoil, the impossible obstacles, the heartbreaking story of Farhad's selfless devotion.
And that ultimately tragic ending for all the main figures.
Right, and I think the enduring power of this Sasanian epic really lies in how it explores these fundamental human themes, love in all its forms, from the romantic to the devoted to the possessive.
Loyalty, sacrifice, the sheer complexity of relationships, all playing out on this grand historical stage.
Exactly, it's a powerful study.
So this deep dive leaves us, and you, with something to think about. Consider those different kinds of love we saw. You have Khosrow and Shirin's passionate, complicated bond. You have Farhad's unwavering, selfless devotion. You even have Khosrow's destructive jealousy, set against all that ambition and political maneuvering in the Sasanian world. What do these different ways of loving tell us about human nature itself, about its complexities, its light, and its shadows? That's something worth pondering.